welcome. Welcome, friends. Welcome to the Big Kids Back to School live series. I'm your host, Sarah Deacon. Talk about back to school today. Oh my gosh. So today there's all sorts of things happening. My middle schooler decided, I might want to try cross country. So there was a practice today. Let's do that. And we'll add it again. All right, we're just revamping Facebook just doesn't like to connect right off the bat to a scheduled live. I don't know why. All right, so if you're watching on Facebook, maybe you're hitting the replay. So drop replay in the chat. Let's see what we've got going on today. Okay, so if you've missed us the last 4 weeks, I am live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Hello, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube right here in my camera. Down below, I am live on Instagram. I've got a little phone set up here right below my regular camera. So if I'm looking down, I'm looking at Instagram. Hi, Instagram. Instagram, if I'm looking up, I'm looking at the other three. So you can just notice what my body is doing because I've got my screens doing their thing. Hello and welcome. Welcome back to Big Kids Back to School. This is a live series I've been doing through the month of August once a week to talk about transitioning back to school for our older high school and college students that are coming back to school. Some of you have already started and your transition is going the way it's going. Some of you are starting maybe next week. Cool. We're here for it all. I've been speaking to parents. I've been speaking to the students. Today, if you have not caught any of my other broadcasts, well, now's your chance. Drop your questions in the chat. If you're watching the replay, hashtag it replay and drop your questions, comments in the chat. The comments section of our live video here and the rebroadcast recording. We're going to summarize all the things that we've been talking about through the month of August. Okay, so I'm going to go through it really quickly. Can I do it in under 20 minutes? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's jump right in. So I did 4 episodes in this Big Kids Back to School series, live videos every week in August. This is the 5th week in August. Lucky us, we have a week 5 in August. So I get to just do a wrap up for you because you know what? This week is bananas. This week we are cramming the last bit of vacations or summer outside time, hanging out with our families, doing fun things with our students who are about to go back to school. Maybe you're on the road. Maybe move-in day is coming up. I know in Madison, move-in day is Wednesday. So getting ready, getting packed, getting all set up to go. So want to make this quick. I want to be supportive and offer some value about how to navigate this transition between parents and your big kids. All right, so we did 4 episodes. The first one was for parents to help support the transition. The second one was giving a strong and sustainable start to the semester for our student viewers. The third episode was for parents pushing kids out of the nest with a safety net, the parents being that safety net for their kids as they're letting them go out into the world. Last week, we did a really awesome episode on stress self-defense, which was originally intended for students, but I think was really valuable for the adults in the room too. So we're just going to go over some of the key points from each of those episodes super quick. So let's get going. Supporting the transition. So parents, when you are supporting your teen's transition, remember that this is all new to them. Even if they are going back to the same school, even if they're maybe a junior or senior this year, it's still new. They're at a new level. There are going to be new people in their spheres. There's going to be new experiences. So your job as parents is to be approachable and accessible, as they may need to process some of this stuff and they may not always know how or when to approach you with what's going on in their world. So being accessible and getting your own support so that if they start to bring up some of the difficult emotions or feelings around certain situations as they head back to school, parents' job, your job is to make sure that you are in a place where you can listen and support and just be accessible and available to them. Your job also is to get your own support so that you can model the kind of interactions, emotional EQ, emotional processing, emotional literacy that you want your kids to have in the world. So honing your communication skills, super important. Staying consistent, being there, seeking connection consistently, being present when your kids are present, driving them to places, offering snacks or something that they value. So being present for them, being there. And the biggest tip for supporting this transition for parents of big kids, your teens and young adults, listen. That's it. That's the biggest number one thing is listen. Listen. Okay. We got 2 ears, 1 mouth for a reason. Listen more than you speak. And before speaking, check. How are you feeling? Are you feeling triggered? Are you feeling anxious, upset for some reason? And examine why. Ask yourself what's going on. And again, model the kind of communication you want to see from them. Give yourself permission to take a step back, do your own work, and then respond. And check with your kids. Do they want your advice? Or did they just want to vent? Sometimes they just want to vent. Like a lot of the time when they're processing new things, they just want to vent. So let them do that. All right. So that is supporting that transition. That's our parents' big number one takeaway. Listen with your ears and with your heart. Okay. Do they want advice or do they want to vent? Students, getting started in the semester. I know if you're anything like me, you have the best intentions of supporting or you have the best intentions of keeping your schedule, keeping on top of your schedule. I know I always have a planner. I'm like, oh, cool, there's a new planner. I'm going to do all the things and I'm going to do it with enough time and keep on top of my assignments and things like that. And then about October, that planner looks like a ghost town. I'm either not using it or it's all scribbled out or it's a total mess. So our second week, we talked about a strong, sustainable start to a semester. And the key takeaways from that week included things like self-awareness. Like I just said, how do you usually do with your schedule? Is it one of those things where you start really strong and then it just kind of fades away? And noticing your own patterns with that kind of stuff. Connecting with why you're doing what you're doing. And I know this can be really hard, especially for some high schoolers, because it's like, well, why? I'm just trying to get to graduation, or I'm just because I have to be here. And I know that can be really tough. But if your high school career is coming to an end, there's going to be something after. So you really need to look at yourself and figure out, what do you value? What do you like? Your why could just be because you like the teacher. You don't want to let your teacher down. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Your why could just be like, because you got to graduate. So doing the things that it's going to take to reach that goal is important. Now, the other thing is to set up your space. And I know as some of you are maybe moving to college or other things, you get to set up a space from scratch. That's amazing. Others of you who are living at home, maybe you want to clear out some old stuff and let it go so that you can really have a fresh start for the semester. The other thing is getting systems in place, things that work for you. For me, a planner never worked for me, but notifications in my calendar, that works. I do the things that my calendar tells me. So utilize your technology to help you stay on top of the tasks and different things that you have to balance, whether it's sports, school, activities, other things, schedules. Utilize a technology that works for you. Okay. And remember, this is a really big one. The key takeaway from week 2, rest. Rest is productive. Okay. So please make sure you're taking time to rest, to eat, to just be instead of go all the time, because that's how you head straight to burnout town. Yeah. All right. And here's another one that I know some of you young adults, you don't want to go. You don't want to go there. Get the support. There's support all around you. Don't be afraid to say, I am struggling and I need help. And you don't have to look weak or less than or like a failure if you're reaching out to ask for help. Be proactive. Introduce yourself to your teachers right off the bat. Say, hey, here I am, and I'm looking forward to this class. I hope that I can, be successful in whatever way that you're looking to be successful. When your teachers know you, then there's a baseline where it's just neutral to start with, so that when you might need to ask a question or reach out for help, you have this foundation of connection to begin with. So that's sort of our strong, sustainable start that we can look at for our students. Again, if you're joining me for the replay on this, drop hashtag replay in the comments, and any questions that come up. If you're looking for the videos that we've done before, I have them. I'm going to give them to you. All I need is an email address. You can DM me your email, and I will email you the link to all 5 videos in this series. So that is something we can keep going through. Week 3, a couple weeks ago, we talked about, I talked to parents about kicking your kids out of the nest and what they need from you so that they know you're their safety net. I sometimes talk about adulting without a net, and that can be really, really scary if you're out in the world for the first time. You don't feel like you have anything to fall back on. The idea is that there's this option between being a kid and staying at home and not adulting, and totally adulting without a net on your own. And the in between there is adulting with the safety net. So parents, as you're sending your kids out into the world, your job is to be that safety net. And it's not, the fishing net that strangles the dolphins. That's not what it is. Your job is to be there for them to fall back on, for them to seek advice from, to text stupid things to when they don't know what's going on. Your job is to give them agency and take a step back. Let them fail in little ways and be there to support them through those things. Set clear expectations on both sides. Kids, young adults, ask your parents for the support that works for you. What kind of support is the most effective for you? And communicate it. Say, you know what? I really like it when you wake me up in this way. Or if you hear my alarm go off, could you open my door? Or could you, turn on the light or whatever? Like, there are little ways that you can ask for additional support from your family. And families, parents, what ways do you want to offer support? And is that going to be enough? Is it going to be effective? Is it going to be too much for what your child needs, your big kid? Things like, if you really want them to have a curfew, if they need to be at home for dinner, if they have responsibilities of managing younger siblings or chores around the house, you really need to be clear about what those expectations look like and why they are still in place. Because at this age, kids really need that why. They need to know that you're not just telling them what to do to tell them what to do, but that your job is actually equipping them for their future. Okay, so that's setting your clear expectations and communicating. Being open yourself, moms and dads, parents, be open, be available. Again, going back to the week 1 about supporting the transition, Listen, try to withhold judgment and advice unless it's asked for. And that helps you to let go while still being there. And so that your kids still know that you have their back. You're there for them. And then your own work again, stress management tools. If you yourself are having trouble in the transitional phase here, letting your kids go, make sure you're getting your own support, that you're not dumping your emotional stuff onto them, because then they feel guilty for leaving you or for doing something that maybe you don't approve of or that they think is wrong or bad. That is your job, parents, to do your own work and use stress management tools that work for you. Deep breathing, exercise, movement, being in nature, things like that. And the things that I talked about in greater depth. Week 4, we talked about stress self-defense. Let's take a little pause here and get a drink of water. I'm doing a lot of talking, so I needed to just rein myself in here for a second. So week 4 last week was great. We talked about stress. What is stress? What does it feel like in the body? What are the triggers of stress? Why do I get stressed? And then how to address them. We talked about breathing. We talked about the box breathing, 4 counts in, hold for 4, and then breathe out for 4, and then hold for 4. And it's kind of like a square box breathing. Do that 4 times. Very good for lowering anxiety and stress in the moment. Breathing, movement, getting up, moving around, walking, jumping, shaking out a little bit of stress, just releasing some of that pent-up anxious energy from the nervous system. And then nature, literally go touch grass. I know the gamers in the room, they're like, oh, well, no, that's just what we say when people are getting a little too whatever in game. No, it is effective to go touch grass, to go be outside, to breathe fresh air, to see water. We're meant for nature. That resets our nervous system. It helps. So it does literally help to go touch grass. What else? Movement. We talked about that. So stress management techniques. Again, parents, big kids, you're working together on this. You can model for each other. You can hold each other accountable. You can work together to address stress and talk about your triggers, things like that. Planning ahead and being proactive about knowing what triggers you, what makes stress come up for you, and your self-talk about how to view stress. Instead of getting really down on yourself, you can take it in and notice that the sensations in the body of stress very similar to the sensations of excitement. So think about that. We talked a lot about that last week. And then again, getting support and guidance. If you are having trouble managing your stress, we all have those moments where we just need to reach out to someone who has it together at that moment, so that when we have it together, we can be there for somebody who doesn't. And that's the whole idea of coming into community and collaboration. Pat Miller was watching a little bit ago. I mean, if it wasn't for his community, I don't know how many times I would have been defeated by my stress. So thank you, Pat. We're here for each other. You know, we're not all stressed and anxious at the same time, which is great, because then the ones who aren't can care for the ones who are. And then when it switches, then we can care for each other. So we all take our turns needing support and giving support. So to conclude this video, and I'm right at 20 minutes, I think I made it, I don't know. To conclude this live session of our summary wrap up, I want to offer you my support, because we're talking about getting support. What do I have? Here we go. We're going to talk about this, the Adult Successfully Strategy session. So I know on Instagram you can't see the link. I will drop it in the comments when I get back over to Instagram. But this is what I'm talking about, support. You have coaches, you have counselors, you have parents, you have people in your life to support you, to hold you up when you're feeling heavy and brought down. So there are people out there in your life. If you don't think there are, please schedule your Adult Successfully Strategy session. That is up to an hour with me. I'm here for you, and we will tackle a problem or situation that you're dealing with. We'll dive in together and get you set up for success by the end of that session. That adult success, I was like, where am I going here? That Adult Successfully Strategy session is available in the next couple weeks. I would really, really encourage you to get on that with me as soon as you can, because I do have an announcement coming next week that that may impact how we move forward together. Oop, I'm paused on Instagram. Okay, there we are. We're back. And then in September, I do plan on continuing weekly live. They may not be quite as involved as this back to school series. I'm still kind of tweaking and tinkering with what I want to offer you in September, but I will be showing up live. I'm going to work on doing it on a regular day and a regular time, same day and time every week, so that you can rely on me and we're not all over the calendar in September. So thank you for tuning in for the too long didn't watch back to school summary session. We just talked about our 4 episodes from August, the 4 weeks, the last 4 weeks in August. We summarized our 4 episodes: the supporting your kids transition, getting a strong start for students for a sustainable semester, getting your kids out of the nest with a safety net, being the safety net for your kids, and our stress self-defense episode we did last week. We talked a lot about a lot of different things, about navigating stress, about communication, about deepening your relationship. If you have any questions, make sure you hashtag replay in the comments and ask your questions. I will be there. I do the social media things myself, so I will be there to answer anything that comes up for you about this topic. DM me your email address if you want a link to all the videos we did in August. I will send out that link right away. And then last but not least, there's support for you. And if you're wondering who or what that could be, schedule your Adult Successfully Strategy session with me now. It's sarahdeacon.com/hello for that session. And we will tackle what's going on with you, and we will get you all set up for success. That is all I have for you today. 23 minutes. Not bad, not bad. I talked really fast. So hit me up in the comments if you have any other questions. And with that, I am going to sign off for our August Big Kids Back to School series. Thank you for sticking with me through these 5 weeks, and I will talk to you next time.